incredible. And two questions popped in there. Was one, were you, when that experience happened to you, and I'm assuming that's what happened when you mentioned 20 years ago, that turning
Oh,
point,
yes.
were you actively sort of seeking that, or was it coming from a place of pain? And the other question would be then, how the hell did you respond once you have something like that, you know, the first few days later and you go home or whatever it happens?
I was blown out. Okay, so I wasn't seeking it because I didn't know it was there to be sought. I wasn't aware of, I was seeking meditation as a stress relief. I just was trying to learn how to calm down my mind because I'd become perfectionistic. I was horribly shy. I overcame it by being, really good at doing all the tasks at hand. I became perfectionistic. And that, of course, leads to stress because it's not authentic. It's not real. And so to seek relief from my perfectionism, I sought out meditation, but I didn't know about it from this standpoint of illumination, enlightenment, the Eastern principles. I didn't know any of that. I was just like, how do I learn how to breathe, to calm myself down? Because I was starting to get migraine headaches. And so I sat down in meditation, and within the first 2 or 3 meditations, the very first time I sat down in meditation, I had an experience. And about the third one, I had this huge transcendental experience, multidimensional. And that was what I was describing to you. So it was pain that drove me to learn meditation. And then it was within meditation that this opening occurred. But I didn't know about this idea that you could enlighten. It wasn't about that. I thought I was just, it was stress relief. So it was double the benefit because my headaches went away. It changed my life. I was no longer a perfectionistic. My circuits were blown. And enlightenment occurred, just coincident. There are no coincidences, but it was as if it was just, an accident that I stumbled upon this reality. I have this image. Let me see if I can find it. I was just teaching a class, and I use this in one of my classes. So I'll see if I can hold it up here and see if this works. Now this is kind of like, wow, big old spiritual type of image, but just take a look here. This is who we think we are. And this is what happened. I lit up here. I could see down, and this was, quite a distance, quite further than this image will show. But what I really would show people is this energy field that exists down here in the human system. It's energy drops down through our body, hits the earth, and rises back up, and cycles around and around and around. And if it rises up through enough accurate circuits, it rises up and creates a perfect field. If it rises up on limited circuitry, it creates a distortion in the energy field. And that distortion is what creates our stress. We look out through that field and we see a distorted reality. So most of humanity is walking around inside of a distorted movie that they think is filled with stress and think that it's filled with things that are suppressing them and causing them hardship. But it's actually a reflection to us about what's not going on internally, what is or what is not going on internally. And so it's really just feedback. So if we take it personally, we never get to the fact that it's really just feedback trying to show us how to, focus up the lens a little bit more accurately.
Yeah, it's incredible. And looking at those charts then with the distorted chart of the energy and how the Torah should be running naturally, from all your experience and what you've seen, then should we be really thinking about changing our energy to change our circumstances as opposed to just constantly trying to change the physical all the time?
Right. We try to change our circumstances so that it will change our energy. But our circumstances, quantum science is showing us, our circumstances, our life is a reflection of our own consciousness. And if our consciousness isn't running accurately, then the energy doesn't run accurately through our bodies. So the toric field gets a distortion. So it's all in response to how what we're holding as true. If we're holding an illusion as true, meaning I'm not enough, or it's never going to work for me, or, fate would have it that I'm never going to have what I want, or it's impossible, I'm too old, or I'm too young, or I don't have enough money, all that kind of, those limiting beliefs, they play a role. But I work with people beyond the idea of just changing your beliefs. I work with people to realize you actually are made of the energy that you're trying to learn how to manage. You're made of it. It's you. It's not something separate from you. And when we get that identity honed together, then we have the power to really transform our life experience from this masterful place, rather than just thinking that we're we're caged in by our mind, and we have to change our mind to change our reality. There are additional ways that we can work with that make the whole thing easier.
Totally. So what happened to you?